Hola, ¿qué tal? Aquí vamos a seguir en Vampyr, por donde lo hemos dejado. Investigaciones de Darius Petrescu. Bronquitis. ¿Qué significa esta sangre? Ah, ahí está la enfermera.
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be for Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me, just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned.
Cerca... Ah, mira. Ok. ¿Hay un escondite por aquí? ¿Puede ser aquí?
I have this thirst for blood.
¿Aquí? Oh, esto qué coño es. ¿Eh? ¿Hola? Botella y pitillera. Botella pequeña. Vale, se sube por aquí arriba. Chalines, hombre. Pitillera y anillo. Botella pequeña y pitillera. Pitillera. Joder, ¿cuántas pitilleras y anillos, no, tío? Sí, por aquí fue donde entrar. Bolsa pequeña y... Ah, vale. Esencia de clavo y tártaro ferroso. ¿Y aquí? Caja grande de pastillas. Botella pequeña y pitillera. Primero subimos de nivel, aquí ya. Qué defensiva. No entiendo. A ver, agresiva de garrón. No, necesito 2000 puntos. Lanza sanguinaria, 2000 también. Y niebla. Inflige un gran daño. No te digo yo que no. A ver, cuerpo, mordedura. Cuerpo, sangre. Ah, no sé qué subí. Terminante. Ey. Pierde el control y dejas que la bestia se retire durante un breve periodo de tiempo. La bestia se desplaza automáticamente hasta la posición del enemigo y lo ataca con furia. Algunas habilidades son tan poderosas que infunden respeto incluso a los vampiros. Una de ellas... Ira es una de ellas. El vampiro pierde el control y libera a la bestia que haga el trabajo sucio. La bestia se teletransporta hasta el objetivo y la ataca con una furia ignota. Debido a su oscura naturaleza no es posible usar este tipo de habilidad con frecuencia. Y ya. Abismo. También lo puedo mejorar, ¿no? Sí. Crea un tuyo de sombra a los pies del enemigo. Las sombras cobran vida, interrumpen al enemigo e infligen un gran daño. Y la otra es... Causando tu poder para acabar a tus enemigos con sangre, haciendo que explote con violencia e inflige daño a los individuos cercanos. Ira. Que por siguiente nivel, pues lo tenemos bloqueado, ¿no? Y... Fuerza de mordedura. Defensiva. ¿Qué más tenemos? No. Defensiva nada. Este aquí. 600. No. Y táctica. Casi. Terminante nada. Cuerpo a cuerpo. Joder. Aumenta la salud nada. Aumenta la energía. Mordedura. Joder. Regeneración tampoco. Necesito algo que cuesta 300. Aumenta tu capacidad de sangre. Yo creo que así. Hemos puesto una terminante gorda. Y aumenta nuestra capacidad de sangre. Esta que me parece dotar. 200 de daño. Nivel 1. Confirmamos. Sentenciado. Calgon Bay, 45 años, varón. Un para nada honrado propietario de Whitechapel, el señor Bates, amasó su fortuna ofreciendo alojamiento a inmigrantes desesperados para después extorsionarlo a toda costa, hasta el punto de que muchos de ellos tuvieron que venderse ellos mismos para mantener sus mediocres refugios. Por supuesto, el señor Bates se ofrece a sí mismo como intermediario para tales empeños, pues con la mayoría de estas almas perdidas en el dispensario de la enfermera de Dottie Crane, eligiendo a sus futuros residentes por el color de su piel y por sus dificultades para entender el idioma. Además, no le ocultaba su profundo racismo. Los Skull que habían intentado matarlo eran antiguos inquilinos, movidos por el deseo de venganza y por la necesidad de eliminar a su miserable casero. El señor Bay era totalmente consciente de la maldad de su acto y del odio que inspiraba a los demás. Murió arrepintiéndose por la falta de seres queridos. Encima no tiene ningún círculo social. Consigue mi punto de experiencia de esta alma. Bueno, quizás vamos a tener que haber perdonado, pero bueno, es que no sentencia a nadie. Y este, como se ponga tonto, pasa que este... Ah, es porque está enfermo. Este cuando lo cura tiene... Se averigua hasta las pistas, es cuando conviene sentenciarlo. Pero este que es mercader. Pero vamos, que también se podemos sentenciar. Un momentito. Bueno, vamos a seguir. Todo el distrito grave. Vale, ahora aquí vamos a fabricar unos tónicos. Bueno. Para el resfriado. Un par de tónicos para mí. Ah, párate, otra cosa que quiero hacer. Para analizar. No. Reciclar cable. Valor de reventa medio. Este objeto se puede obtener. A ver, con esto que he reciclado. Pitillera. Botella pequeña. Sincerada, mira. Yo le voy a todo, sí. Vamos a dejarlo más que ese, a ver. Mira. La neumonía. Va. Dos de las pollas, me la he hecho de más, pero bueno. Para aquí saldría, sí. Ey. Hostia puta. Ella. Muestra utilizando su producto de sodio, vale. Y quinina. ¿Y ahora? Chelines. Adicción por la sangre. Los vampiros beben sangre. Honestamente, este podría ser el rasgo más distintivo de la siniestra peculiaridad de su condición, pero para mí no se trata de la característica más importante de su dieta. Lo que siempre me ha fascinado de que comencé a estudiarla es la imperiosa necesidad de sangre que parecen soportar. La desean más que nada y ese deseo puede llevarla al extremo incluso de desenmascararse, y cuando la beben pueden experimentar un breve trance, una epifanía estática, tal y como me lo describió una vez un vulco al que entrevisté en Moscú. Estoy convencido de que esto constituye un elemento esencial para comprender la naturaleza y la condición de los vampiros. No beben sangre para sustentarse, sino para extasiarse. Todos los vampiros son adictos a la sangre, sin excepción. Forma parte de su naturaleza, y aquellos inmortales que se niegan a someterse a su apetito gracias a su fuerza de voluntad jamás superan su adicción, desde velando la noche a ser Tarti, primado de San Paul. Aquí no puedo entrar, ¿no? Botella pequeña y pitillera. Ay, podía haber mejorado. Eso es lo que quería hacer. De modo, pasar en el siguiente escondite ya. ¿Sabéis yo que se me olvidaba algo? Quería mejorar la arma. Bueno, pues sí podía mejorarla, mejor dicho. A ver. Sí, porque como ahora vuelvo para atrás. Eso sería por aquí, pero es que por aquí no puedo pasar porque it's locked to hide.
It's locked, all right.
Lost to right. Joder. Ey. Quiero contigo. Pero bueno. Ey. Ey. Frasco de vidrio. Salines. Aluminio en polvo. Ese 60, ¿qué significa, tío? Elimina. Encuentra al habitante de Witch. Encuentra a Lisa, encuentra a Carl. Perdí el rastro de la enfermera Dorothy Crane tras su encuentro con el miembro de la banda. Por suerte he encontrado una pista en el cadáver del hombre después de morir a manos de unos Scal descontrolados. Lleva encima una especie de cupón para una revisión médica de Whitechapel. Estaba escrito en inglés y rumano. Invita a los propietarios del cupón a acudir a la casa de Darius Petrescu y preguntar por Dorothy. Según Dorothy Crane... Ah, vale. Dale, encuentra allí. Capítulo 2, bata blanca. Cerca de la iglesia. Sí, juego típico del ejército. Ok, por aquí estoy cerca. Pero... Ah, está el escondite.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reid, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Invíteme a entrar.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way. Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
Casa de los Peterson. Botella de pitillera. Caja grande de pastillas. No te importa, ¿no? Que... Un momentito, ahora
Is there
hablamos.
only pain and suffering in this world?
Ciencia, tártaro.
It's locked.
Slot, sí. Ya. Carta de rechazo de empleo. A ver. Estimado señor Peterson, es mi deber informarle de la imposibilidad de aceptar su solicitud para un puesto de trabajo en el astillero. Le agradecemos, no obstante, el tiempo dedicado a explicarnos las dificultades de su situación. Con su hijo enfermo, la desgraciada pérdida de su adorable esposa, pero también es mi deber informarle acerca de la política de nuestra compañía, que explícitamente rechaza el empleo de antiguos criminales o convictos. Sus desafortunados vínculos con los infames Boys han llegado hasta nuestro oído. Vivimos tiempos difíciles, señor. Y en Fitch y Harper siempre intentamos recompensar primero a los candidatos que superan la pequeña encuesta que planteamos a nuestro futuro empleado. Le compadezco profundamente y espero que Dios le acompañe a usted y a su familia. Saludos cordiales, Harper. Cazador de vampiros profesionales. Si alguna vez sospecháis que alguien sea un vampiro, tratáis de matarlo por vuestros propios medios. No tendréis la más mínima posibilidad. En su lugar, intentad poneros en contacto conmigo e informar a un cazador de vampiros profesional. Estos hombres y mujeres no son demasiado comunes, pero saben lo que hay que hacer contra estas diabólicas criaturas. Parece incluso que algunos de ellos colaboran bajo el nombre de la Guardia de Priven. una organización paramilitar dedicada a la erradicación de los vampiros en Londres. Son vuestros amigos, no estéis solos. La solución está ahí. Sea inteligente, difundir la palabra. Karen Closley. Para más información, contactad directamente conmigo. Bueno, chicos, ahora sí vamos a hablar.
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
A ver, primero.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
Yes, I know her. She came here to examine me when I was very sick. She said I should go out more.
O sea, que la conoce. A ver, Harry Peterson. Agotamiento. Vale, subida en Londres. ¿Cómo te
How do you
encuentras?
feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough, like. Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
¿No te gusta vivir en Whitechapel?
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
Tu situación solo podría ir mejor.
This place is awful, I agree. But does that not mean your situation can only improve?
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
¿Por qué no os marcháis?
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reid. It's the living I'm afraid of.
A ver, mira. Harry posee una constitución delicada y enferma con frecuencia. De un principio Harry no quería bien. Nos falta una pista. Preguntas personales. Tu padre ha intentado conseguir un trabajo honrado.
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
Can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reid. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired. I don't know if it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
Vamos a curarle.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Ya está.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Bueno, ya no tengo nada más aquí, ¿no? Esta manera de subir otra vez. Por si acaso me dijo algo. O sea que ha sido muy buena idea. No lo puedo abrir, ¿no? Ahí, Celine, ¿ves? ¿Cómo me dejaba algo? Bueno, ahora sí. Hasta luego, chicos. Nos veremos, supongo. Joe Peterson, padre.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reid, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Agotamiento. Sí, a 1260, ¿eh? Para solución. Vale, está el padre. Vale.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
Vale. ¿Qué está haciendo aquí?
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now, sod off.
Muy educado.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Pregunta personal, a ver. ¿Por qué sigue trabajando para una banda?
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now. People won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
No, porque lo he curado. A Har no le gusta vivir en
Harry
Whitechapel.
doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
¿No temes ser arrestado?
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
¿No se arrepiente
Do
de
you
nada?
have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Vamos
Can I offer you my medical expertise, Mr.
a curarlo.
Keep your medicines for others.
Te lo voy a
There's a
ofrecer.
thin line between pride and stupidity, sir. Please take this medication. You'll feel better.
All right. I'll take it then. It's not like I don't appreciate the gesture.
Nada de él, no hemos conseguido nada.
Goodbye, Mr. Peterson.
La iglesia, ¿no? ¿Qué te pasa, hermano? ¿Estás cantando, bailando, rezando, contento, triste? ¿Tú qué eres?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to
O el
Whitechapel.
periodista.
But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reid.
Dr. Reid, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
A ver. Agotamiento. Hermano, no tengo para curarte, lo siento. La prensa no comenta nada sobre la epidemia.
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
Es una
It's a
desgracia.
disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
¿No le da miedo salir de
Have you
noche?
any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
No es una simple epidemia.
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
¿Qué está haciendo aquí tras la puesta de sol?
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
¿El público está interesado?
Quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
¿Arriesga su vida para revelar la verdad?
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Creighton dice que los periódicos promulgan la verdad sobre la situación de Whitechapel. Vale. Preguntas personales. Sobre un dispensario médico clandestino.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
Una enfermera está involucrada en
I'm
actividades
afraid one
indeseables.
of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved
No he dicho quién,
with
una enfermera.
unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
No tiene ningún
He
familiar.
has no relatives at all?
No, except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
Y nunca sale.
He never goes out.
No, a few days ago he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Pues...
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
A ver, cura.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reid, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Padre Tobias Whittaker. 2500. Vale.
Do
Estoy
you know
buscando.
Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to
Lo
know more
primero.
about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
¿No? ¿No le gusta la
So you're
enfermera?
not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Totalmente en desacuerdo.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than
¿Por
other
qué la
nurses?
odiaba?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in her country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Dorothy Crane, mira. Una pista de ella. Su vida en Londres. ¿Cómo que estoy más perdido de lo que
What do you
pensaba?
mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Solo creo en los hechos.
I am. But the answers I seek are based on facts, not superstition. What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than
¿Y la
you
otra?
thought?
¿Qué
All
hablé?
scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Le escucho.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
¿En qué estás pensando?
And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No,
What is left then?
cleansing fire.
Quiere combatir la epidemia con fuego. ¿Cómo pretende limpiar la ciudad?
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Vivimos en el siglo XX. La ciencia es nuestra única esperanza, pero ¿dónde ponemos los límites? Límites. No, vivimos en el siglo XX. ¿Dónde ponemos límites?
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses?
O la gente.
Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. while he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Todavía se cree que Joseph, el pastor de la iglesia, predica una falsa fe. ¿Le queda algún familiar?
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
¿Lo envió a predicar? ¿Dónde lo envió?
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
Vamos a hacer una nueva investigación. ¿Qué más? ¿Lo envió a predicar?
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Buah, este padre está fatal. Ah, está sano. Atrás. Atrás. Y
I have
hasta
had
luego.
enough for tonight. Goodbye.
Ay,
The walls of your home will not protect you. Protection against malevolence.
desconocido. Esta mujer, ¿quién es?
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reid.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Cristina ropa quiero decir. Agotamiento. Muchas pistas hay aquí. Estoy buscando a
Do you know
Dorothy.
Nurse Dorothy
Primero.
Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothea Crăciunescu. She
Ah,
came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
soy de Londres. Sobre su
Christina,
salud.
have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Su área de trabajo tiene mucho riesgo
Considering
sanitario.
your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Dinero. Que de la salud de sus
You can put
clientes.
your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Ah, se la suda. Sobre la investigación de Clayton Darby.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Ahora en base de la experiencia.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
¿Por qué es tan
Why
escéptica?
this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Preguntas personales. Hábleme de usted.
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
Si no puedo pagar. No podía encontrar ningún trabajo decente por su condición de inmigrante. No la juzgo.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Vale, pues ya está.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
Tenemos por aquí, justo aquí voy a hacer un corte y voy a seguir grabando. Un saludito y hasta ahora.